And if you don't mind, I'll demonstrate. First off, you start your knees and your hips at the top of the swing, lower part of your body. Arms and hands follow, bringing you into position to hit.
Yes, indeed. A very big welcome to Course Language, all thanks to Callaway. If you're a first-time player with us or an existing member, either way, we're rapt to have you on board as we discuss all things of the great game that is golf. Sam Hargraves, golf commentator, golf extraordinaire, joined by the man who played on tour, won on tour, commentates on the tour. He teaches other people, hopefully do the same one day. Ryan Lynch. Hello, mate.
Hello, Sammy. Good to be here, mate. As always, chatting to you about all things golf. We actually had a little game of golf earlier in the week as well, but big week, women's major championship week. The Chevron is over. We got some interesting storylines out of that, and the LIV conversation kind of continues to bubble along, doesn't it, mate?
It certainly does, and there's a lot of news to get stuck into this week, and we're looking forward to doing all of that thanks to Callaway. Scramble's back, confessionals abound. We've got some scramble questions to read out from those who have sent them in, so we really do appreciate those who continue to send us in some stuff to chat about. We want to talk about the things that you want to talk about as well, and we don't know what you want to talk about unless you tell us. So Course Language Podcast at gmail.com or at Course Language Pod on the Instagram. Get in touch with us at any stage. A lot of news, but we did have a game together this week, which is fantastic. We went to play Thursday competition, Stableford at Cheltenham, where I'm a member and I'm very proud to be a member. One of only two courses in Victoria, Lynchy, that can lay claim to being the junior club of a major champion. Do you know the other one?
Junior club of a major champion from Victoria. Well, it must be, where was Peter Thompson a junior member? Victoria?
Royal Park. Yeah,
Royal Park.
That's right. That's where he started.
Interesting.
So,
there you go.
It's a claim to fame, and one of many that Cheltenham has. But mate, what did you, before we get into our round, by the way, and not much to talk about at my end, but what did you think of the course? Because this is a course and it plays such an important part. It's affordable memberships. It's under $2,500 to be a 7-day member. It's a 9-hole course, as we know, but it's right in the middle of it's right in the heart of the Sandbelt, in between Royal Melbourne and Victoria. So it's on sacred ground.
Yeah.
Same dirt, as we always say, or same sand, as we always say at Cheltenham. True. What did you think of the course?
Well, I thought it was in superb condition, to be honest. It's a very tight golf course. You better be in control of your golf ball. And I think we were talking about this as we were wandering around, that the greens are interesting, right? You've got to hit the right shots into the certain pin positions. You've got to avoid certain areas. And it gives anyone in the general public the opportunity to potentially play off sandbelt type conditions, off that type of turf. You get that great interaction off the fairways. You got that, and sandy links probably give anyone who wants the opportunity to play a sandbelt type golf course that doesn't have the opportunity to get out to the sandbelt courses or the private courses there. I had a delightful day. We had perfect weather. You couldn't have picked a better place to be on a day like that. And, we've got a confessional coming up, but you allowed me to make the exact same mistake off the second hole as you made a couple of weeks ago in the first round of your club championship, mate. But I can't speak highly enough. And thank you to the people at Cheltenham for having me out and allowing me to play the golf course. It was a very enjoyable day, mate. How did you find it?
Young Zach and the team have got the course looking magnificent, and the club do an incredible job. Well, apart from my own game, which I think I had 31 points on the day, playing off 15, so it was probably just outside of where you'd want to be playing to your handicap. I think the comparable was about 18.4, so it wasn't a superb day from me. I hit a lot of good shots that ended up in bad places, is what I'll say. But it's what you talk about. It's a tight course. It's a small course, narrow fairways, but greens that you've got to hit, because it's really well bunkered in certain places, so that if you miss short, left or right, you get them in trouble. And if you go long, oftentimes you're dead as well. So you've really got to know your numbers and, as you say, be in control of your golf ball. Mate, you played superbly. And if it wasn't for me giving you the bum steer on 2, I reckon you walk away with probably a win that day, given where I looked at where the rankings had been. We'll get to the confessional in just a moment at the end, but because there's a bit of detail that goes into your confessional for this week, and we've given a bit of a spoiler as well. Let's get into the news of the week, and I just want to start this off. Last week, all the news was about a tour that events were going to be cancelled, staff were going to be laid off, future uncertain, and that's exactly what happened over the course of this week. The problem was it wasn't on the LIV Tour. It was the PGA Tour that cancelled the Century, the Sony Open. They cancelled the Tournament of Champions, no longer on the tour, and they laid off 4% of their staff. So all the news reports were true. This was going to happen. It just wasn't on the right tour. So it was the PGA that had a bit of drama during the week as opposed to LIV.
Yeah, well, I think this probably speaks to the goal that they've got moving forward. It's an expensive endeavor to get over to Hawaii, bring all the staff over to Hawaii. I think it's a real shame that the tour won't be kicking off there. I enjoyed the 2 weeks in Hawaii to kick things off, but obviously the expense and Brian Rolapp's vision for what this US tour actually looks like. The writing was on the wall this year. I mean, the rumors have been circulating for a long time, but never nice to have to lay off people who rely on that for a paycheck. So yeah, it probably comes as no surprise, but it is a shame that that the players won't be traveling across any body of water for an extended period of time until they probably get to the middle of the year for the US Tour players. Albeit it was a short jump. I'm sure that the people in the States really enjoyed flicking on what is beautiful weather over there in Hawaii while they're sitting there in the cold. And I mean, very different from us viewing it here, but a shame nonetheless. What was your take, mate?
Oh, yeah, exactly the same. I really rate Brian Rolapp. I'm going to play some comments that he had during the week in just a moment. I think he's doing a magnificent job. He brings experience from I think other places as well that give him a different lens to approach or to look at this through. And he continues to impress. It wouldn't have been an easy choice to make, and especially not the staff layoffs at all. And I know that I made light of that, but only because of how strange it was in the week leading up to it. It was all about that was going to be happening on LIV, and so far no announcements. As we know, LIV funded through to the end of the year, and what happens after that. We wait with bated breath to see where it all ends up after. But it's never a nice feeling to have to lay off staff. There was jobs advertised that they were advertising for that they have actually taken down and won't be filling anymore either. But just on LIV, just some of the things that have come up during the week. One, Peter Malinauskas, the South Australian Premier, who I honestly reckon, Lynchy, if he throws his hand up federally, he would be the Prime Minister tomorrow. The guy is loved by all and sundry and doing a magnificent job. He's really confident, and the conversations, according to reports that he's had, that they believe that it's going to go ahead. There's a massive renovation and upgrade planned, multi-million dollars for the Greg Norman design North Adelaide in the build-up to all this. So I think he's obviously been on the phone to make sure that they're actually going to be going ahead next year. Lucas Herbert's been asked. He used the same line out of Wolf of Wall Street that Leonardo DiCaprio used when he played Jordan Belfort. I'm not effing leaving, is what he had to say. And he's got a lot of faith in Scott O'Neill, the CEO. He sung his praises, did Herbie. So I think there's people digging their heels in and bullish about it. But I just wanted to play some comments that Brian Rolapp made off the back of the conversation we had last week. I sent this to you, and I think I said the comment, I love this guy, not just because he said exactly the same thing I did, but I think that the PGA have got themselves in great hands with him at the helm. Let's have a listen.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Look, I think LIV did what the AFL did for the NFL years ago. Maybe what the USFL did for the NFL years ago is basically competition can make it better. And I think whenever you get competition, you end up figuring out what you do well, what you don't do well. And I think that's what LIV did, was expose some things that maybe the PGA Tour could do better.
So I'd love to get your thoughts on that, Lynchy. I'm only playing it. I think it's fascinating, but also too because it does reiterate some points I made a week or two ago. But what did you make of that? I think that's great self-awareness.
Yeah, I think it's an easier comment to make now knowing how strong his tour looks. They have been a disruptor. It has been good for the game, I think, at large. It'll be curious to see whether or not they can get up the funds required to continue on at the pace that they're spending money. I saw some information earlier this week that it was costing them nearly $100 million a tournament to put on the show that they've been putting on. So I'm not sure that they're going to be able to find multiple businesses or companies that are going to be willing to run at that sort of loss. So potentially somewhere they're going to have to make some adjustments to their model. Maybe they join up with the DP World Tour. Who knows? But I think Brian Rolapp certainly seems like a pretty switched on fella. It wouldn't be a good look for him to be sitting around dancing on any graves or anything like that. So I think he gave them the credit that was required.
But hopefully that attitude, it filters down now. I mean, it was very combative when it all broke, and we saw that play out sort of through the Full Swing documentaries, and we've seen it play out in the comments of the players back and forth here and there. I just think that kind of leadership, it sets a tone for the rest of the tour.
Yeah.
Just to remind people that, okay, so that wasn't ideal, but geez, look what's come from it. Look what we've been able to do. Good companies, when they're challenged, they don't blame. They go, okay, how did this end up happening? So the fact that they were able to do that, put things into place to make the tour better. And I love that he says fans first. That is a change, I think, in the leadership styles. I'm not having a go at Jay Monahan, but that is fans first, then the players, then our partners. This symbiotic relationship that you all have to rely on each other to boost up the sport. I think that's a really key phrasing, and I think it's really worth putting in. It's also about LIV did us a favour, and now what we've been able to go and do with it is to give the fans what we think is best product. And I reckon that's worth noting for the players, especially if you're still salty about potentially players coming back. Maybe that's a way for you just to get over it. To go, okay, well, it's not ideal. I didn't get the money. Okay, fine. But what did happen as a result of all this has made our tour better and made the conditions that we play under and the money that we play for better.
Yep.
So hopefully that
fair.
can be adopted top down from here on out.
I'm sure it will be. Eamon Lynch had an interesting article this week that he published that was essentially carrying on from that. What does the tour look like beyond? I mean, will there be ways back for players like Rahm and DeChambeau and Cam Smith and anyone else who wants to potentially come back to the PGA Tour? There was an interesting article. Some of the comments and some of the thoughts that he had, I found, quite thought-provoking. Bryson DeChambeau has been wrapped up in a legal battle, essentially with the tour, which the players on the PGA Tour pay for these legal fees, and it sounds like to me that there are a number of players that would be quite happy to have 95% of the talent and see the other 5% of the talent at the majors only. So that article was thought-provoking. I'm not sure that I agree with it. I would want to see all the best players playing in the same places, ideally. Having said that, I have no problem if 50% of the talent is playing on the DP World Tour and 50% of the talent is playing on the US Tour as well. So we do have that, which we'll get to a little bit later on, that rivalry type tour where we've got the John Rahms. And if it means that Bryson's playing the DP World Tour and coming and playing the Australian Open and the Australian PGA and stuff like that, that would be very, very fascinating. I would listen to that.
The speculation is a lot of fun. And again, don't miss out on an opportunity. As Brian Rolapp said, if it does change and it has to change, then where are the opportunities for every tour around the world? There'd be some smart minds in rooms now trying to figure out what's the best way to maximise on what essentially might be another implosion in the landscape. And then what does that look like when the dust settles? How can we maximise on it? And I do credit Brian Rolapp for saying we then had to look at the things we could do better, and we have, and we will, and we're going to continue to do that. Everybody's got an opportunity to do that now. DP, I think you've got a big opportunity if you can get in there and get aggressive and get creative.
Yeah.
Ryder Cup, worth mentioning, got a new captain.
They do, yeah.
And interesting too, Lynchy, a lot of the reports are now saying this is because, so we never got an official Tiger Woods is going to be the captain, but a lot of people are reporting this as because Tiger is no longer going to be available. So that has me thinking that maybe there was an announcement set that never happened for Tiger to be the 2027 Ryder Cup captain. That's not going to happen. So Jim Furyk, US Open winner, will be the captain again. What did you make of the story?
Yeah, he will be. unfortunately for poor old Jim, is going to have 2 away Ryder Cups. Going down to the Europeans in Paris in 2018 when he was the Ryder Cup captain at Le Golf National. And Europe did a great job that year in setting up the golf course to suit the players that they had. Americans went in as heavy favourites. And look, there's always scrutiny on the Ryder Cup captains' pairings when you lose or whether or not you win. And the US side had their pants pulled down there, and Jim's got a big task ahead of him now. I don't envy his position at all. He's been the vice captain in 2014 and 2016, I believe in 2020 and 23 as well, from memory. He's been involved in the US side very heavily. He's obviously an incredible player, one of the greatest minds the golf game has ever seen from a professional standpoint. And now he's got all the work to do to try to figure out the pairings, to figure out who he's going to take over, and to figure out how they're going to compete against what will be a very fired-up European side, albeit question marks around whether or not Jon Rahm will be on that the side as well. We're projecting a long way out here, but what did you think of the news, Sammy?
Oh, look, I was sort of in two minds about it. I think there's a sense of stability about it. I mean, it's interesting that it hasn't had a stable response. It's been a very mixed response from people, especially online, depending on how much stock you put into that. This is a guy that played in 9 straight Ryder Cups, and he's 5th all time in points scored, so he doesn't have a winning record, but he won 2, played in 2 winning Ryder Cups. Yes, he captained 2018, and his captain's picks were widely panned, but only after the fact. So he went with Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson, Bryson DeChambeau, and Tony Finau. Now, on paper, that's big tick in 2018, but the problem was that Woods, Mickelson, and DeChambeau got 0 points. Finau got the 2, and they lump them in together. I feel this is so unfair on Tony Finau. He gets lumped in with the captain's pick that only got 2 points between the 4 of them. He got the 2. So leave him out. I reckon he did his job. So I feel for Tony Finau there because he gets lumped in, though, that was a bad pick. No, he wasn't. He was a good pick. And he played his role. So they went down 17.5 to 10.5. It was an absolute debacle. But also, too, like no one predicted that Molinari was going to make Tiger Woods his bunny in all the team events that they played against each other. I think 3 times, and Molinari got the win in all of them. Tiger, as we know, didn't get a point. So there's a lot of things that went Europe's way. It was one of the all-time sort of underdog wins when you look at the European team on paper, no disrespect to the American team. So I think he's unfairly tarred with that brush, don't you?
Well, they did what you're allowed to do as a home Ryder Cup team. You set the golf course up to the way that you want to set it up. So they set it up brilliantly to penalise the length that the US side had and prioritise the straight and accurate players that they had at the time. I mean, go back and have a look at the list and have a look at who they won with, and it just boggles the mind. So you're right. It was.
Do you want me to read the list?
Yeah, go on. Read the list. The way that the Europeans set up the golf course and played to their strengths, and questionably the partnerships that Furyk put together just showed an overall lack of awareness, I feel like, in cohesion with those players, and showed a little bit of a lack of course preparation. I don't think they got over there early enough. I don't think they did their homework enough to know what skills were going to be highlighted and required by all players in their sides. But give us the list, mate.
So this is the team. Paul Casey, 1.5 points. Tommy Fleetwood, I think that's his first Ryder Cup. 4 points for him. He was superb. Sergio Garcia was a captain's pick. He got 3 points. Tyrrell Hatton, 1 point. Rory McIlroy, 2. Chesko Molinari, the Open winner that year, but he went undefeated, Lynchy. 5 matches, 5 points.
Well, he's probably
Alex
one of the best
Noren,
players in the world at that time. I mean, probably the best form player on the planet at that time. Won the Open Championship that year. Could have won the Masters the following year when Tiger Woods ended up getting it done, but he was in the final group there. And
in all of the team, he was involved in 3 of the wins against Tiger Woods as well, Molinari. He was unbelievable. Alex Noren, 2 points. Thorbjorn Olesen, 1 point. Ian Poulter, 2 points. John Rahm, 1 point. Justin Rose, 2 points. And Henrik Stenson, who was a captain's pick as well, 3 points for him. So the captain's picks nailed, really, on the European side. DeChambeau, 0 points. Finau, 2. Did his job. Ricky Fowler 1 point, Dustin Johnson 1 point, Brooks Koepka only 1.5 points, and he, like in terms of ranking points, had almost doubled the next in line. So he was at peak Brooks at that time.
Oh, yeah.
Mickelson 0 points, Reed a point, Webb Simpson 2. Reed cracked it afterwards with Furyk because he didn't get picked for a couple of the team rounds. Spieth 3 points was superb. Webb Simpson 2 points. Justin Thomas 4 points was phenomenal. Bubba Watson a point, and Tiger duck egg.
Yeah. I think we might even be giving too much credit to the loss. As a captain, I think that you're probably going to learn a hell of a lot on the job. I'm glad that it's Furyk. I think they've got no other real options. You could look at Stuart Sink, who's put his hand up, and a couple of others. But the US side is just, what they're lacking is not the person who's at the helm. It's lacking the strategy. It's lacking this long-term view and long-term look into the team competitions that they play in more regularly than the European side does. And clearly the Europeans have a process that they stick to and that they run with. And, we might as well, segue again into what is another team event this year. We've got a President's Cup that we need to keep an eye on, because this is our international team. Before we get there, Sammy, you want to add one more thing?
I do, and I'm going to call an audible right here on Course Language, thanks to Callaway. Normally we'd wait to do the scramble, but given we're just having this conversation now about the new Ryder Cup captain, I'm putting the scramble in right now. It's my week, and we're going to hit it.
I don't want a piece of you. I want the whole thing.
I'm a great scramble partner.
I don't want a piece of you. I want the whole thing.
Yeah, I did a few things here and there.
All right, this is a scramble question this week. The scramble every week on Course Language, thanks to Callaway. One of us brings a topic for debate. The other has no idea, but they get to pick the side. Here's my scramble question for you this week. Should Keegan Bradley have been given another opportunity to captain Team USA?
That's the straight-out question.
That's
with
the
an away
straight-out question.
Ryder Cup.
With an away Ryder Cup?
No, I don't think it helped his game. He still wants to play at the highest possible level. He still wants to compete in majors. He mentioned how well and how much he respects Justin Rose for what he's doing at the Masters the last couple of years. I haven't watched the whole full swing season yet, but clearly it was a heavy burden for him to carry. It was a very awkward situation that he was put into, and I don't think he did himself or the team any favours by being the Ryder Cup captain. Huge honour to be bestowed upon you, and he was reasonably self-sacrificing in that role as well, but I don't think he helped the US team perform the best they possibly could have performed. And I don't think that giving it to a current player who's working really, really hard on their own game to compete at the highest possible level gives him that opportunity. So I don't think he would want to do it, but I certainly wouldn't be giving it to him.
If I had thrown this scramble question up before watching Full Swing, I would have been in fierce agreement with you. I thought that the moment that they didn't say, Keegan, we're going to give you the captaincy, but mate, you ain't playing, so just get that out of your head right now. But we know you love it, and we know that you'll bring every bit of passion and all that stuff to it. We think you can do an incredible job. The players respect you, all that kind of stuff. But they didn't do that, so it wasn't set up well from the get-go. But after seeing Full Swing and having a listen to the players speak about Keegan, I tend to think that they may have missed a trick. I think there's something they could have tapped into. He brings unadulterated passion to this. He lives it. He breathes it. He loves it. And especially the younger guys, they really have got, they speak glowingly about the support he gave, the belief he instilled. I saw some of his speeches. I'm a big one for coaches' speeches and captain speeches coming in. I thought a couple of them were pretty good. Some of them are, cliched, but most of them are these days. It's hard to be original. I think he did a really good job in a lot of that space. I think you can learn lessons from, okay, did we arrive early enough? Did we get enough practice rounds in? Okay, maybe I didn't set the golf course up, but I'm going to study everything that they do to set up a Dare Manor and how that's going to work as well. I think a lot of the same guys are going to be in the frame. And I just think that as a group, they could have said, we've got unfinished business. Scotty Scheffler had a mare. I reckon, Keegan comes out and says, me and this guy, this guy and I, we are going to bring it back. We're going to get an away win. I think they would have really set this up from a narrative point of view, a story point of view, a passion point of view. The criticism is they keep going back to the well, the same old guys. So Jim Furyk, which I like, far be it from me to say is he a good choice or not, but he's got a great record. Put aside 2018. He's not going out there playing. Like, those guys just didn't play that well. So that's not his fault. But you could have just made a stand and made a statement and said, let's run it back. Do we feel like we gave the best of ourselves? We get a chance for a do-over. Let's take our mulligan. It would have been Keegan Bradley's mulligan at Adair Manor, like, with the rest of them in tow. And I think they could have and then bring back, be really smart about your captain's pick. If bring back some guys who are just a bit more established, some fighters in there. Maybe bring back Spieth, and there's a couple of others. Brooks Koepka, like, surely he's going to play himself into position to be back there again. And I just think maybe they missed out on an opportunity, because first and foremost, you have to have someone who just eats it alive, lives and breathes it.
That when they sit down to have an interview with Netflix and the camera's in front of them and they give them a microphone, that they're going to be fair incomely truthful about how they, like, of course they're going to say that. Of course they're going to say he was brilliant. And he probably was. He was probably fine.
Patrick Reed threw Jim Furyk under the bus, so they've got a history. And but maybe that's what the Americans needed, because they do so well in the singles. They don't quite nail it in the teams. Maybe they just needed a little bit of take the eye. There's no I in team. It's not about you. Look at what of all the American that I saw on this, and I want to speak about Full Swing, that's another matter, but of all of them that I saw, you can't, it's a little bit like Queensland and New South Wales in State of Origin chats. It's always been believed that Queensland, it just means more. Now, New South Wales hate that. But from an outside looking in, as a Victorian, I see that. I lived in Brisbane for 5 years. I've been to Origins in New South Wales and in Queensland. I've lived and worked in both states, in and around rugby league. And I can tell you that it means more. It just means more to Queenslanders. I think it means more to Europe, but not. It doesn't mean more to the Europeans than it means to Keegan Bradley. So I think start with that and then build the team that echoes that guy's passion for it. And if you don't have that passion for it, then don't play.
He would have to want to do it, though. It's a 2-year job in a bloke whose game. He won the Travellers last year. Does he want to sacrifice his own game for the small bits and pieces I've seen? Luke Donald said he could never do what he was doing and what he's done while he was still focusing on his own game. So if you're going to get a half,
you just tell him it's out, it's over. You ain't playing.
Yeah, but
do you want to make your mark in Ryder Cups?
Yeah, but he's still got to earn a living. And if he goes out and he's got to do all these meetings and prepare the way that he should, he's probably going to be sacrificing some of the time that he would be working on his own game. He wants to play a Ryder Cup, doesn't he? He wants to be on that team. He came so close last year. He wants to be on that team, not captaining it. I don't know. What does it do to his legacy? Is it a hiding for nothing? What does it do for his legacy? He goes over and they get their pants pulled down again. And look,
he's no worse off.
Hiding to nothing.
He's no worse off.
Maybe not.
He's no worse off.
Fair enough.
I just
Let
think
us know
maybe
what
they
you
missed.
think.
Yeah, love to hear from you. Course Language Podcast at Gmail or at Course Language Pod. Did Team USA miss a trick and not giving Keegan another crack at it? Give that team a chance for redemption and just see what they might have been able to stir up amongst themselves. Because I want to, I think I want to see more passion out of the American team. I want to feel like it means as much to them as it means to the Europeans.
And
I know that it does for him.
Yeah, I think it does.
I'm just saying,
for many of them. Yeah,
but tap into those guys. Like, you can't doubt Justin Thomas. Like, you just
you'd never have him as playing captain.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying he's the guy to me that epitomizes, like, I can feel it from him.
Yeah.
There's a couple of others that I just didn't feel it. As a fan watching it, I didn't feel it from you. Maybe that's just the way you are. And you make your own mind up when you go down the list of who played at Bethpage Black last year. Yeah.
At who's going to be there.
Well, it'll be who's going to be there? Who wants to be?
We've got 2 more years, a long way out. We've got another team event coming up, mate, that we need to keep an eye on.
So President's Cup standings, we're all across this. One of our favourites, of course, is the skipper in Geoff Ogilvy. It's the big team event for this year. It's for Australians, it's our opportunity to play team event on the biggest stage. It's a tournament that's come to Australia and is coming back to Australia again. Royal Melbourne in 2019. I still have such fond memories of that. It was broadcasting out there for a couple of days, and got to be within arm's length of watching Tiger Woods, and it was just extraordinary. So. We want to keep everybody up to speed on this. We want to really champion the President's Cup on Course Language. We want to be the place you come to get your updates on where things currently sit from a President's Cup standing point of view. So we thought we'd just start right there, Lynchy, with the standings.
Yeah, 22nd to 27th of September this year at Medina, course number 3 that Geoff Ogilvy and Captain Geoff Ogilvy and his team Mead and Cocking have redesigned this golf course, so they'll have a little bit of local knowledge.
Speaking of captains being able to set up the course, the bloke set up the course literally.
He can't set up the course. The US side will set up the course. Oh shit,
that's right. Yeah, sorry.
He won't be setting up the course, but he'll have some intimate knowledge about how the golf course plays.
Yeah, sorry, that's what I mean. I mean, they get to set up the course, but this guy actually did set up the course.
Exactly right. So the US side will have the opportunity to set the course up the way they want it to play. Very exciting for particularly us below the equator down here in Australia, New Zealand. The way that the standings are currently, we've got on the international side Hideki Matsuyama, who's had a great year, obviously. Siwoo Kim. Minwoo Lee is currently sitting at number 3, Jason Day at number 4. We've got Nico Echeverria at number 5, Corey Connors, who has played so many of these now, Adam Scott at number 7, who has played just about all of them. It feels like crazy to think the longevity in that guy's game. We're going to be talking a lot more about him as the PGA starts to come to a head. He's going to be playing his 99th major in a row. Ryan Fox at number 8, Rio Hitsatsune, Jaden Shaper, and then from there we've got another Canadian in Nick Taylor and Casey Jarvis, and from there we're kind of looking for things to be dancing around a little bit, but just sitting outside Sungjae Im, Aldrich Potgieter, who's spent a lot of time in Perth, and everyone's favourite Hao Tong Lee as well, to round out the top 15 for the international team.
Has Ernie Els blacklisted him forever?
Mate,
from that
must be said that we are going to be going in as really strong underdogs, but we do overperform in the team's aspect of things, and would be very, very excited to be getting over there. And run us through the US team quickly and have a listen to the juggernaut that we will be facing.
Yeah. I mean, it's 6 and 6, the same as Ryder Cup, 6 automatics, and then the 6 captains pick. So at the moment, the rankings are Scheffler and Young at 1 and 2, Henley at 3, Morikawa at 4, Griffin at 5, Ben Griffin, JJ Spawn, those two both playing in last year's Ryder Cup. Jacob Bridgman, who's had such a great start to this year. Chris Gotterup, I think people are screaming out for him to be selected. He's at 8, and especially at Adair Manor as well. He's got a great record in Europe. Scottish Open, and then I think 2nd or 3rd at the Open last year. Xander Schauffele, Akshay Bhatia at 11, and Sam Burns rounds out the 12, and then just below that, Justin Thomas, Av McNeely, and Patrick Cantlay.
Yeah.
Is the 15.
Keep your eye. We just wanted to make mention of this. We're going to have a little bit more content coming out over the coming weeks about the President's Cup, but just keep your eye and ear to the ground a little bit. It's going to be an exciting year, and we'll have a chat to Geoff Ogilvy coming up shortly. He played this week. If we want to get around the ground, Sammy?
Why don't we?
A day the Fitzpatrick family will never forget.
Around the grounds this week, we've got to start, Lynchy, before we get to Geoff's return to the course, playing in the Zurich. I love this event, and to me, it's given us one of the great stories of the year, but we'll get to that in just a moment, because the big story really is the women's first major of the year, the Chevron. Nelly Korda wins her 2nd of these, Lynchy. It's her 3rd major. back to number one in the world, Nelly Korda, in a women's tour that has major winners everywhere. I mean, there's no one dominant figure over the last 10 years, really. But when you look at where they're at the moment, I mean, she was playing in a final group with two other major winners as well. They really do share it around, such as the depth of talent. But Nelly just pokes her head above the pack again and says back to where she believes she should be. How did you see it?
Yeah, well, I mean, that to your point, we had a brand new winner every single week on the LPGA last year. So exactly right. The depth is there. And Nelly Korda absolutely dominated this week. It's a shame that so much of the news was based around putting a pool in off the 18th. This is the LPGA's premier event. This is their major, and it's a shame that it was dominated by that. I'm not sure how necessary it was to have a bit of local water or whatever they were using it as a drop zone there. But Nelly Korda, great to see her back on top. Great to see her dominate a major championship the way that she has. We need superstars in the game, particularly on the LPGA side. I think it just creates a lot more buzz, a lot more interest when you do have a couple of standout players that that people can attach themselves to, particularly an American female that the US can really get around. And she is very highly accoladed, and she is very highly renowned over there and across the world, but would love to see her travel a little bit more, particularly early on in the season. She's obviously a winner already. Again, that win earlier in the year surrounded by a little bit of controversy in finishing up the event because of suboptimal playing conditions. It was a little bit cold, but well done to Nelly Korda. She gets it done. This is her third major, I believe, major victory.
Yeah, it is, and her second Chevron. So it's a big milestone for her, especially after the previous year where she probably, I mean, she got the Chevron a couple of years ago to get her first major, and then I think, when she got her second major 2 years ago, the thinking was that last year was going to be she's going to put the length of the straight between her and the rest of the LPGA, and it didn't quite happen. So for all intents and purposes, it was a disappointing year for Nelly. She slid out of the world number one rankings, but she's back there now, and I just watched it from my untrained eye and just thought everything you do it looks so good. Like the way that she does every single thing, the way that she prepares for each shot, the caddy consultations, everything. She feels like a no stone unturned type of player, and a player that when she's playing well just has complete control over what she does. I mean, I think she only missed one fairway until the 18th when she just missed to the left. And obviously there's adrenaline pumping. You got a 5-shot lead. It didn't matter. But that's quite extraordinary to be getting that amount of fairways off the tee. Doesn't feel like, I mean, you tell me. I look at her with an untrained eye and say I don't see a weakness. What do you see?
Well, clearly she is an absolute superstar. I thought the golf course played really well this week as well. It's as difficult as it is playing in Houston at this time of year, but no doubt she is a superstar. The length she possesses, she's there week in, week out. She's been around the lead a lot this year already, having won. The former world number one, Gino Titicum, missing the cut this week. And other notable finish was Hannah Green continues her strong season and with a top 10 this week. And 4 more majors to go on the women's side.
It just feels like a fait accompli that Hannah's going to get one this year. I mean, I don't want to put the moz on her, but it just feels like that is going to happen. Great first major of the year. PGA, I love the Zurich. I think it's given us some great, whether it's, Leash and Cam Smith winning a few years ago when they did. But this is another ripping story, the Fitzpatrick brothers and what they were able to do. Lynchy, I think it's the feel-good moment of the year that we've got so far. I know the year's very early, but this is the feel-good moment of the year. And Matt Fitzpatrick, what a tear he's on at the moment. What great form he's in. And geez, he's fast becoming one of my favourite players, just not only for what he does to watch him play, but as a person too. You can't help but love him.
Absolutely. He put this victory up with his US Open victory. They've been playing this the last half a dozen years. Alex, obviously a winner on the DP World Tour this year at DLF, the Indian Open, and there is no easy way to get onto the US Tour. So your best way from Alex's point of view is to play really well on the DP World Tour, finish in that top 10 players who aren't already qualified and get through that way. Otherwise, you have to go to the Corn Ferry Tour. You have to play a year over there. You've got to scratch and claw your way through into a top 20 finish on the Order of Merit to get your way on. This is the easiest way on, is become a winner at the Zurich, and he did that. And I thought, to be perfectly honest, I thought Alex Fitzpatrick held his own all week. I thought his iron play and some of the shots that he was hitting down the stretch as well, as nervous. I mean, he is on the brink of absolutely changing his life, and Matty Fitzpatrick knows this too. They are looking to change Alex's life together and share one of the most incredible moments on the golf course, to win as a pair, as a brother. The shot that Alex Fitzpatrick hit into the 17th hole was an all-timer, incredible 6-iron from 167. Really flirted with the water, was clearly out to try to win it, and the bunker shot that Matty Fitzpatrick hit on the last from a long way out. You could see the emotion just fall out of both of them on the 18th green. And it must be said, you summed it up pretty well. The Zurich is a fun event if you're willing to get involved in it, and if you're willing to just break away from regular golf 72-hole stroke play. This is what we kind of ask for. We want to see something different. We want to see something interesting and something that we don't see every week. And it is a breath of fresh air. I would love it to be played on maybe a different golf course potentially, but brilliant from the Fitzpatrick brothers. What were your takes, mate?
Just exactly that from you. Why don't we see more of these? I mean, because does every week just have to be the same? Golf can be done, and golf gives of itself so many variable ways to play it. I mean, even at your own club, you might play par next week. You might play stroke the week after. Then you're playing Stableford that week. So even at that level, that basic level, there's variations on the theme. I just don't understand why we don't see more of it, to bring something a little different to the table, to plant your flag and go, every other tournament is that. We are this. And that's what the Zurich does, and that's why I find it fascinating. And I'd love people to get a little bit more creative within the confines of what constitutes a golf tournament on the PGA Tour or the DP or whoever it is, even in Australia. I'd love to see us do that in Australia, especially when we're really desperate to make sure that as many eyeballs as possible understand how great the golf is in Australia. You've had your state of origin concept. Let's get in a room and go, okay, well, is there some other stuff that we could do? Yeah. Can we do something like the Zurich? Can we do something
You'd like to see the ratings really outperform this week for anyone to go ahead and make those decisions, to be fair.
But don't let that deter you. Don't let that deter you, though, because just find a way to do it better. I love the difference in it. And I also think it's as I said, one of the feel-good stories, like Matt Fitzpatrick now and his brother for the next 2 years probably get to live and travel
they'll
together.
be playing plenty of practice rounds together, don't worry.
Absolutely. And what that's going to do for both
awesome.
of them to be,
Very cool.
now, and because Alex had everyone's seen his best. And that in 2023, when he was in contention for the Open, it fell away on the final round, I think it was, when he finished T17 in the end. But we've all seen him at his best. And that first win on the DP World Tour is exactly that. He's played well at this event, as you said, with Matt before, and now his life is about to change. 2 years he's got on the PGA Tour. He gets to go in all the signature events now for the rest of the year, as well as a winner. I just think it's a great story, and it's a life-changing one for that 27-year-old.
Let's not forget he's 7th on the DP World Tour rankings at the Race to Dubai at the moment. So he was right in contention for one of these cards at the end of the year anyway. So he is a world-class player. It's very easy to kind of get sucked into only thinking the best 50 in the world or best 100 in the world are the people that we've got to watch. But Alex has put together a great body of work this year, as has Matt. And it was a fun one to watch. You could really sense the urgency and the stress that they were both under. Speaking of the DP World Tour, Bernd Wiesberger ends up winning the Volvo China Open. On the Asian Tour, Han Jong-woo takes it out over Cameron John. One of our own finishes second at the Singapore Open this week. So Cam John continues to play some great golf. Great to see him over there competing.
Well, it is very special, Lynchy, because it gets him a tee time at Royal Birkdale for the 2026 Open Championship, the last major of the year. So it's a major milestone in the career of John, and continues on just an incredible season that he had on the PGA Tour of Australasia. And can't help but be happy for him.
You got to. I mean, I'm thrilled for him to be able to get this spot at the Open Championship, because that's what Travis Smythe earns for finishing atop the Order of Merit in Australia, which is where Cam finished second, obviously. So great opportunity for him. He's clearly playing fantastic golf. Onwards and upwards.
Now, I know that we've already done our scramble for the week, because I called an audible. We were riding on the Ryder Cup, and I just thought, let's keep going, keep the pedals spinning on that. But we do want scramble questions, Lynchy, as often as we can from our Course Language members. So at Course Language Pod is where you can find us on Instagram. courselanguagepodcast@gmail.com is where you can email us. And that's exactly where Steve has found us. Now, he's got in touch with us. I hope you guys had a great weekend. Great to see you again, Lynchy, down at the National Tournament last week. Thanks for the great coverage of the tournament and the season overall. So there's a fan of what our man brings to the PGA TV coverage. Love the podcast and thought I would put forward a scramble question that's sparking plenty of chat amongst our Saturday golf group. The discussion heated up in our group last week after one player shot even par for 40 Stableford points and only won $45, while 15 other players picked up $10 down the line prizes for scores under 36 points. Our club pays out about 50% of comp fees for the top three in each grade, plus NTPs nearest the pins. Pretty standard. Here's the scramble question. Should local golf club competitions continue paying down the line prizes, the small $10 style payouts, to players scoring less than 36 Stableford points? Or should clubs introduce a minimum 36-point cutoff for any down the line money, with any unclaimed cash redistributed to the top three in each grade? This keeps the overall payout percentage exactly the same and the main grade prizes plus NTPs untouched. It just raises the bar slightly for the minor also ran payments. 36 points playing to your handicap would still qualify you for the $10, but anything below would not. And he goes on with some thought starters from our group for the discussion, pros and cons of the 36-point minimum. I'll read those to you after we have our say. But what say you?
Oh, gee, that's a tough one. It's a tough one. I am always an all or nothing type of person anyway. I would prefer that the prize purse gets doled out to the winner of the comp, or they should significantly be well reimbursed for their great play. So that would be my first take on that. Secondly, it depends on how difficult the day is. I mean, 36 points on a certain day is pretty doable. 36 points on a really difficult day is sometimes not easy. And we know how the handicap system works at the moment. So I think he's onto something there. I think that's probably a fair way to dole it out. If you are able to beat more people, and not enough people were able to play to their handicap, you should be reimbursed. You should earn a little more for your clearly great play. So I'm with you. I'm absolutely with you.
Well, I'm going to say no. Keep it as it is. And I hate to say this, and I say this from someone who's doing the same thing every Thursday or Saturday and Tuesdays when I used to go play the Tuesday comp as well at Cheltenham. We ain't playing for sheep stations. We ain't playing for green jackets. We're just playing at our local club for the love of the game. It's a little carrot to dangle. Let me ask you this. How many players shot under par at the US Open last year?
Total.
I can't remember, but it wasn't many, was it?
No.
At one point, there was only a couple who were under par on a difficult final day. Would we tell all of them, sorry, guys, none of you are under par. We're going to take the prize money and just give it to the guy. Like, you just don't do that. So whatever the day is.
That's my point. How many people were under par at an easy golf course?
But that's my point, that the scores are the scores.
Mm.
You know, like we don't put you're putting a minimum score requirement on prize money.
Yeah.
And as you say, it could be raining, it could be windy, it could be any number of things over the course of the day. But the scores are the scores for that day. I mean, you're only as good as that day you played in comparison to all the other people that did. To me, it's no different. If everybody had a great day and you've got 4 blokes over 40, or if you've got, the highest score is 35 points on a tough day, you just pick how many people are going to get a prize and you pay it down the line. And I think you stick to it. I would be happy if less. I wouldn't mind if less people got money, but I don't think there should be a minimum 36-point cutoff.
That's fair. That's fair. I guess it comes down to the club, because one of the clubs I used to be a member of used to pay out $5 down the line to like top 15, and the comp fee was $6. So I just kind of thought, well, what's the point of not even giving a comp fee back to everyone who's getting this ball run down, essentially? Like, just pay the 3 best, and wherever it sits, it sits. So yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the whole rundown and diluting the payouts. I want a nice big chunky payout that I can go and buy myself a nice new pair of shoes, or get my clubs re-gripped, or give myself a nice little splash out, because money's tight sometimes, and it helps when you've got a nice chunky voucher that you can go and spend. You don't have 40 points very often, you don't have 42 points very often, and when you do, you want to be well reimbursed and reimbursed for it.
Interesting, our priorities. I was just thinking it'd be more money to spend over the bar, but good to see that you're a lot more responsible with the prize payouts.
Pump it back into your own game.
These are some of the points for and against from the team, Steve and his mates. So for introducing a 36-point cutoff, saying that it's basically playing to your handicap. That's a good solid round, deserves a small reward. Scores below, worse than your handicap, shouldn't automatically earn extra cash in a competitive field. It rewards genuinely good performance on the day instead of handing out money for below average rounds. Helps keep prize money meaningful for the players who actually played well. More flows to the top 3 in each grade when fewer qualify down the line. Encourages better scoring without being overly harsh. Those points against it, for Steve and his team, down the line money is meant to be fun and inclusive, and that's what the game is supposed to be at this level in my book. It keeps more players engaged and coming back each week. Great point. Many club golfers, especially higher handicaps, see 34 to 35 points as a solid achievement worth rewarding. It could discourage mid to high handicappers from entering if they feel the bar is set too high. I like that point as well. Traditional club golf has always been about participation as much as rewarding strong performances. Steve's group lent towards making it a 36 points or better cutoff, but I think those last 3 points are really important at the club level.
I think they've got it a little bit backwards, to be honest. Higher handicaps benefit significantly from the handicapping system.
That's true.
You're
the amount of guys I see off like 25 having
off.
40, 100%.
Exactly. So you're discouraging the low handicappers from entering the comp by doing that. But otherwise, I agree with those points as well. But no, I'm with Steve. Make it a cutoff. I want a big chunky prize purse for my good round.
Hey, Steve, thank you so much for getting involved in Course Language. And for anyone else who'd like to send us a scramble question, courselanguagepodcast@gmail.com or at Course Language Pod on our Instagram. You can send it through to there. You can send your Course Language confessionals through too. Now, this is where you want to tell your funniest story that has happened to you on a golf course. It could be an embarrassing moment. It could be your greatest moment. It could be something that happened to somebody else out there on the course. It's the story that you immediately tell when you sit down after a round with a beer in a hand to talk about the day that's been. It's the first story that comes to mind from that day or any other day that you've played. We want to hear all of your Course Language confessionals. This is a safe space, Lynchy, as we know, and you're going to give us this week's Course Language confessional, mate.
We obviously played this week. This is almost a confessional for both of us. Now, I grew up playing a 9-hole golf course. This is the first place I was a member of. Unfortunately, it doesn't exist anymore. It was called Yarra Valley Golf Club down there in Bulleen, and it was pretty simple. The white tees were the front 9. The blue tees were the back 9. The white tees were always up the front. You play the short course first, and then you play the full course second. And my confessional this week is, after listening to you and judging you for hitting off the wrong tees at your home course, I did exactly the same thing. I just teed off the front marker after the first hole. Second hole, teed it up, hit a reasonable drive. And I said, so whereabouts did you hit off in the wrong spot? And as you were wandering around, you walked up to the plates and you said, I just teed off from here. Like, this is the plate here, but this is the 11th hole. So the second hole's the one at the back. And I turned around and looked and had a look at the markers that we're teeing off, and I was like, well, so does that mean I just teed off in the wrong spot? And as it turns out, yes, I did tee off in the wrong spot, so I had to take that 2-shot penalty and walk back to the correct markers and play the second hole from about 20 yards further back than where I'd already played from. So not only had you done it, but you allowed me to do it as well. And you'd think that I've been around a golf course long enough to not worry about pace of play, but just say, hey, fellas, where are we teeing off here? But my confessional is that was the wipe of my day. So had a wipe at the second, and away we went, mate. How were you feeling at that time? Because it didn't bother. It really didn't bother. I couldn't care less about this stuff.
You could have slid me under the door. I was so flat. I couldn't believe we had just been speaking about it as we were coming off the first. I showed you where it happened and then didn't even pick up on the fact that you were doing the exact same thing. I just wasn't paying attention. And I've thrown you right under the bus. And I'm so sorry, mate, because you were...
I'd already hit the shot.
Yeah, you'd already hit the shot. So you actually went on. Now, if you you had a second ball par, right? So let's say you parred that hole. You had a 4-under day. You played superbly. You were flushing it. And I've contributed to the only blemish on your scorecard for the day. I felt terrible. And I just can't for the life of me figure out how none of us, even the bloke we were playing with who's been a member at Cheltenham for a fair while, he didn't pick it up either.
Yeah.
He was just laughing at my story about teeing off from the wrong spot.
I was standing around there teeing up the ball, standing at the front tees. Didn't think anything of it until I turned around, hit the tee shot, said, so Sammy, what happened? Where did you tee off? Oh, right. Oh. So the confessional there is, I have made the same mistake as you now, mate. It's something that we share as Course Language co-hosts, that we've teed off on the wrong tees on the second hole at Cheltenham Golf Club. So, there we go. I'm sure it's not the last time that it'll happen, and it's clearly not the first time, mate.
No. So I think we share that equally, that confessional. So I'm going to shoulder the responsibility of that one with you. As well as the host for the day. But mate, well done for you for being open and honest. We'd love to hear your Course Language confessionals as well. We're going to get some prizes too from our good friends at Callaway, just to entice you a little more to open up and bare your soul to us on Course Language. So look out for that. If you are shopping at Travis Matthew on their Australian website, or OGO on the Australian website, and you're in the market for the best apparel in golf, Travis Matthew, and the best golf bags and golf luggage, and OGO, then use Course Language 20 at checkout. All thanks to our friends at Callaway. You can get 20% off Travis Matthew and OGO. Hey, Lynchy, it's a big week. What are you looking forward to this week?
Well, it is a big week. The US Tour is down in Miami at Trump National at Doral, the Blue Monster course, which was a staple on the US Tour for a long period of time. And Rory McIlroy, unfortunately, not going to be there. Have you got any takes on that just quickly before we head off?
No, I'm not surprised, though. I mean, there's people trying to draw political, I suppose, ties to it. I don't know if it's any of that. I just think that, again, look, Rory's about legacy at the moment, and he's just going to do whatever he feels is best for him to keep accruing majors. I think there's another 2 tournaments after this year before the PGA Championship at Aronimink on May 14th. So I don't draw anything else other than this, he just thinks that's the best preparation. More time with family, more time working on his own game. If he feels that that's going to put him in a better place than competing, then so be it. I think the PGA has a bigger question about how often can we be okay with the biggest name, and he might not be the world number one, but he is the biggest name in golf, not playing another signature event. So that's probably more of a question for the PGA than it is for Rory, because he's entitled to do what he thinks is best for him to prepare. But for the PGA, you can't have your one of your 2 biggest draws pulling out of these signature events. So they got to find some common ground there.
Yep, back-to-back signature events on the US Tour. I'm starting to get my trip to the UK and Northern Ireland all locked away, whereas heading off on the 11th of May. So the big week is more about getting all of those golf rounds sort of tied up into a neat little box. We'll have a little bit of content coming from that trip. I'm very, very excited about heading over there and spending a couple of weeks with a couple of mates playing some of the world's best golf courses. So we'll bring you a little bit more about that and how you can potentially jump along to your own golf trip over the coming months. And we've got some exciting news coming up over the next little while as well. But that's what my big week is, mate. Starting to plan all this, get everything, all the ducks in a row. And the time is drawing very, very near.
Well, next week we're going to get you to run through the itinerary of this tour because it sounds unbelievable. I'm going to lend you my OGO travel bag because I just don't feel like I'd be doing you. I feel like I'd be doing you a disservice if I didn't give you the very best to head on your journey with. So you can borrow my OGO travel bag, mate. Until next week, enjoy whatever you're doing in golf, and for you listening as well. Remember what happens on Course plays on Course Language.
Hit 'em well.